What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So it's Gotham night. That means we gotta check out the latest episode. And Demon's Head wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I think it was funny. It had some funny places, like, especially the stuff with Penguin and Ed and all that. But then I felt like it started to fall back on what it was doing beforehand, like before this season, before they started doing this, more independent Bruce. The whole vigilante Bruce. I felt like they fell back on the old Bruce who's getting, saved all the time and stuff. I thought, they kind of fell back on that a little bit, where I would have liked to have seen Bruce, take a more, show what he's sort of becoming, just sort of step up a little bit. But still, it was still a good episode. I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying, the whole, this new Ra's al Ghul and all that. So it was good. It was good. So this episode pretty much all centered around the knife. This, from what it seems to be, like this, it's directly linked to Ra's, and we all knew that. And it's meant to be, he told this story about how it's meant to be this key to gaining his throne back, so he could claim his kingdom again. And I don't know. I'm not too happy with that. I would have liked to, maybe a more traditional Ra's al Ghul story, with the League of Assassins and stuff like that. Him just wanting to wipe out Gotham, and I thought that was where they were going to go down, but they seem to be possessed with this knife. I don't know if that was just a story he told Gordon to get him off his back, but I hope it doesn't center around him like this knife is like the source of all his power, because that's just not Ra's al Ghul. That's not Ra's al Ghul. So, like I was sort of hinting at here, the main story was centered around Jim and Bruce and Ra's, obviously. And the knife, basically Bruce gives the knife to this artifact, professor who, knows all the knives and stuff, and he's decrypting it all for him. And, Alfred kind of says, like, hey, do we really want to get these people involved here? Is this what we want to do? And he's, Bruce's like, oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We need to find out. And I think they wanted to do here was teach Bruce a lesson of, you have to be careful on who you bring in on your vigilante plans, right? Because they can get hurt. The more people you have involved, the more people that can get hurt. So I think they're trying to teach Bruce a lesson. And, basically what happens is this professor and his grandson are, depicting, sort of saying like what this knife is, and they sort of tell the story of Ra's al Ghul, and, they're going through it all. And basically Ra's al Ghul shows up and kills the professor, and the the grandson takes the knife and runs away with it, and this starts this whole chase thing. And this leads Jim into basically becoming directly in contact with Ra's, and I think it serves as a way of bringing Jim into this Bruce storyline, which I didn't really like. Like I've been telling you guys, I think Jim's big, center of this whole Gotham show thing, I think that's done. I think you can put him to the side. You can make him a side character. You can, he's still important, and he's still, can have these cool parts. But the main parts now are all these villains and Bruce. That's the main parts that we're interested in. We're not interested in Jim Gordon. We're not. I rather see more, vigilante Bruce, more proto Batman, sort of with his suit. More of that stuff. Do more of that. Do more with the villains, because, Penguin, Enigma, and Victor, and both Victors, by the way, in this one. Like, that's where the good stuff is. Forget Jim. Jim he's served his purpose. So yeah, that's kind of, I think that's what this whole storyline was built on, was one, to teach Bruce this lesson of be careful who you involve, and two, we got to get Jim involved in this storyline. And this is kind of where we get introduced to this weird, like, sort of, kind of like a Houndsmaster type characters here. But it's essentially this guy called Anubis, and he's like a dog guy, right? He's like this dog guy, but he's essentially a real life Golem, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He's like, and he has these weird eyes, and I think he can smell, like he's basically a bloodhound, right? And he can smell, and he's tracking this kid, trying to find the sword and all that, and he's creepy as hell, creepy as hell. I gotta say, Gotham, like at the moment, like with the Scarecrow stuff, I think be about not last episode, but the episode before, and now this. They're going on a creepy streak here. Like, creepy looking, like, characters and things. And, like, people moving the ways they probably should not be moving. And he was a real-life Golem, like, running around biting people and all the rest of it. It was... Oh, he was creepy as hell. And, yeah, and then, you know, Bruce and Jim, they got to go off and try and protect this kid. And it was an okay story. It wasn't the most interesting story out of this episode. It was more a teaching moment for Bruce, and I would have loved to have seen Bruce kind of showing off his skills a little more, and you know, maybe learning how to be a detective more, like tracking people down and you know, learning those skills that he needs to be learning to become Batman. And that's what I feel this entire like season, you know, multiple seasons should be, is him learning those lessons. And I know he learned one here of, you got to have to take responsibility if people get hurt by helping you, you know, with your plans and stuff. But I would have liked to have seen him take more of a, you know, go up and fight that big guy. You know, when Jim gets knocked down at the end there, where they're in that museum, and you know they're fighting this Anubis and the big guy. When the big guy had him, and he had that moment where I think it's Andy cut him in the leg and he let him go. I would have loved to have seen Bruce get up there and start fighting him and show Jim that he's not this weak little kid anymore. That he's actually a fighter, and he's actually can take this guy down. And you know, I know they want to make Jim the hero and the big, you know, this big, you know, badass cop, but by shrinking Bruce back down, you know, to this kid again, you know, and I think that's what they want. People, like, they want Jim to see that Bruce is still a kid, and they don't want him like getting suspicious on what Bruce is doing and all that. But I hated seeing it. I hated seeing it that, you know, the scared little Bruce, you know, who's been fighting all these bad guys, fighting the like groups of freaking muggers and all the rest of it, and he's not even really putting up a fight. I don't know. It was a little lame. But yeah, and then essentially all this is like a big chase scene, and you know, Jim gets introduced to Raish. You know, Raish comes along as like this Nanda Parbat official, and like, hey, you know, we're just looking for the this knife. It's very important to my country, and he keeps going along about that. And it was important because, you know, this is the first, you know, we hear of Nanda Parbat and all that, so it was a big thing to hear. And you know, he's talking to Jim, and Alfred comes along, and you know, he knows exactly who he is. He's Raish, and he's seen him before. And I don't think Bruce Jim doesn't really understand what's happening there. You know, he doesn't. He knows he's dangerous, but he doesn't know how dangerous. Like typical Jim, right? He thinks everything can be solved with a gun. And you know, Alfred takes a swing at him, and you know, Jim kind of holds Alfred back, and then suddenly disappears. You know, he completely disappears, like magical ninja, poof, you know, just gone. And you know, that I like that because you're showing like the whole like League of Assassins stuff. Like that's important, and I enjoy that part. I would like to see more of the League showing up. I think that would be a big thing, like to show, you know, Raish's like, you know, resources, like not just Barbara, right? Not just Barbara, like this actual League of Assassin ninjas and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. So you know, it's Jim getting introduced to him, and then at the end where Raish sort of, you know, catches back up with them all and has Andy like with the a knife to his throat and tells, hand over the sword or I kill the kid. And this is basically the moment where Bruce has to make the hard choice. He's got to make the hard choice. And it's a choice that he will have to make many, many times afterwards, right? I mean, how many times has Batman, like, had the thing that the bad guy wants? Like, it's the key to his, like, evil plan, right? But the bad guy has hostages. And he has to give up the thing that the bad guy wants to save the hostages. And he generally does it every time. Bruce doesn't do it this time. He says, I can't give the knife up. I can't do it. And Raj just slits the kid's throat. He slits the kid's throat. And I think this is, like I said, this is what Bruce is learning. These are learning moments for him where he has to, decide whether, do I take a hit, of the bad guy getting something that he wants now and save the innocent, or do I sacrifice the innocent to make sure that the bad guy doesn't get what he wants? And I have to live with that choice. So, a learning moment, but I felt like Bruce could have played a bit more of a bigger role than just running away and, sort of hiding. I would have liked to have seen him a little more on the offense a little more on the offense, especially now that he's learned a lot of skills. And I just thought he could have used them a little bit, just a bit. Now, probably for the more interesting side of the story. There's mainly like two sides to this episode. It's sort of like, the Jim Gordon, Bruce Wayne side, and now the villain side. And essentially, it's the Penguin versus Nigma, who's not really the Riddler anymore. He's struggling. And, Ed's sending these riddles out to Penguin, and they have to meet, and like he wants his revenge, he wants to kill him, and he sends these really bad riddles that the first one Penguin gets, but it's not what he means. It's not what Ed means, so they don't meet up. They just wait there, and no one shows up. And then so Ed sends him another one, like by these like rap telegram guys. Like, it's really weird. And, again, like, he sends a really bad riddle, and, like, Penguin's like, I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. I don't know what he's saying. What's this riddle? It's nothing. And essentially by the end of it, Penguin looks at him, like, he ends up coming into the Iceberg Lounge, and he's yelling at him, like, I sent you riddles. How dare you not come up? You're a coward, and all the rest of it. And, Penguin's like, well, I didn't understand it. Like, maybe that weird lady was right. Maybe your number one fan was right. You are broken. Like, you're not him, are you? And he like looks at him and he's like, yeah, you're not. You're not the Ed. You're not the Riddler that I froze, all those years, all that time ago. And maybe you are broken. And he, gets to the point where they're talking with each other, and he's about, he has Victor there, Mr. Freeze, going to freeze him again, and he's like, no, you're not. I think the better thing for me to do is to let you suffer like this. And of course, this is like a whole thing to, keep Ed in play so that, this whole thing is to, like, just to keep Ed in play so that he can, get back to what he is, probably do some stuff to get his mind back into it, and probably goes and talks to some shady, like, scientists and stuff. I can imagine what he's going to do. Be like some crazy thing that he'll do, like, medically and stuff. I don't know. But it's to essentially it'd be the rise of the Riddler again. Like, he has to try and get back to what he is, and he'll have to do all these different ways while Penguin's sort of the king of Gotham. So yeah, so all that was going on. And all while through this, you had the other Victor Zsasz, just being really funny. Like, Falcone's daughter is there, and Penguin, of course, brings her straight in, because as soon as a Falcone sets foot back in Gotham, he's worried. He's like, whoa, I don't need a Falcone. Like, coming in here and starting up a war and trying to retake Gotham from me. And of course, she's like, no, I'm not here. I'm just gonna do some charity stuff and all the rest of it, and I'm not here to do anything. Kind of kind of playing the innocent role here, and she's like just sitting there, and like he goes, well, if you are thinking about that, I'm gonna have to have Victor have a talk with you. And Victor's sort of standing there going like, I'll have to stab you. I'm so glad that Victor's like playing more of a role, because he's funny. He's funny. He's the comedic like break in all of this, and he's has these little one-liners like, when he's like when Penguin asks him at the Falcone house with the Falcone like loyal guys that are there, and he asks Victor, "Oh, how many grapes did you dig?" He's like, "Well, 2, but they're roomy." He kind of looks at them like it was funny. It was funny, and I do enjoy Victor playing more, not a bigger role, just a more prominent, more he's in there a lot more, and kind of the Butch role. He's filled in that Butch role quite nicely. I like him. It's a good choice. It is a very good choice. But yeah, then we get into the the Sofia Falcone story, where she's kind of playing Penguin, and she plays the innocent, like, right? She's playing the innocent daughter, like, I just want to come back to Gotham. It's my home, and I want to be here, and all the rest of it. And of course, Penguin sort of uses her as bait to lure out these Falcone loyal gangster guys, and he kills them all. But this is all her plan. She kind of says to Penguin, like, that's not what my father would have done. My father would have taken me out to dinner, and then make everyone see that I'm loyal with you, and then those loyal mobsters that he killed would have come and served you. You got to think that way. Don't think like, oh, you're not with me, I'll kill you. She was trying to tell him that, and of course, Penguin doesn't care. He's he's a little bit off his rocker. Then Penguin leaves, and she's sort of smiling. She's smiling, and that this is all part of her plan. And Jim comes along later, and he sort of says, "Oh, well, I heard that 3 Falcone loyalists have sort of disappeared. What's going on?" And she's like, "Jim, you came to Carmine to ask to help, and you knew it wasn't gonna be bloodless. Like, you knew it wasn't gonna be easy, And then he sort of wants to know what she's doing, and she's like, nah, you're just gonna have to trust me. And then kind of a really awkward kissing scene happened. It was like, no, I don't believe this. I don't believe Jim and Sofia. I just don't. It's for me. It's like, oh yeah, this is just gonna be another cute girl with Jim. It's like, Jim, get out of the way. Get out of the way. You're just in the way now. Go away. You're a pain in the ass. He's just gotten to that point for me, I think. So yeah. But overall, I think it was a cool episode. It was interesting. Like I said, I didn't quite like the way they played Bruce here. Like, he kind of fell back into that little kid role again. Scared little Bruce running away. Big Jim Gordon, the hero, has to come in and save him all the time. It's like, no, I get it. He's learning these important lessons that he's going to have to learn for in the future, but I would have preferred him to have, to step up a little bit, step up, actually have, to step up and actually play a pivotal role in defeating these weird, like, human golem guy and big, like, weird speaking dude. But yeah, it was a good episode. Just one half was really good, and then the other half was like, yeah, it was okay. And again, I think that's just Jim. The less Jim in my Gotham, the better, I think, from now on. But yeah. Oh, and no Bullock this time. No Bullock, so that doesn't help. He's on holiday. But yeah. Alright, guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.